Hi guys, we need a bit of a lift at the moment, considering the fact that Donald Trump is destroying America and bullying allies, that Reform UK is rising in the polls simply because the voters are angry with the government, and a whole list of other nasty stuff that's going on. Ex-advisor to Tony Blair and podcaster Alastair Campbell gave a nice roasting to Nigel Farage when he appeared on his show opposite former Tory minister Rory Stewart. It was about the Reform UK leader's recent trip to a steelworks. Have a listen to this.
And this is our last steelmaking plant. And the reason why the sort of Ian Duncan Smith kind of real China hawks and the Nigel Farages who has suddenly become a fan of nationalisation, and actually this is hilarious. Apparently he told a load of steelworkers that he worked in metals in the past. He was a fucking commodity trader. I mean, you know, if somebody says to a steelworker, I worked in metals, I'm imagining a hard hat. He was a metals commodity trader.
You know, Nigel Farage, and I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when that happened, you know, of telling the steel workers, yeah, I worked in metals. You know, I can imagine their questions. Did you get up at 6 a.m. like me and trudge all the way to the steelworks and long for that, you know, lunch break after slaving for hours in front of the furnaces? No, Nigel Farage, you know, a guy who went to a private school, was a city trader, literally rubbed shoulders with the richest man in the world. He's not a man of the people. I'm more fascinated by the people who are convinced that he's on their side than Nigel Farage himself. He's a snake oil salesman. He's good at selling his wares. He's good at convincing people to vote against their own interests, be it in 2016 for Brexit, be it in 2019, you know, vote for him and Boris Johnson, or recently when it came to the election in Clacton, people, the poorest constituency in the country, or one of the poorest constituencies, voting for a guy who's just not going to spend any time there. We had predicted this. He cosplays as a man of the people. And he convinces people. I'm not so much interested in Nigel Farage himself, but the people who are still buying into this. Farage and Lee Anderson and I believe Richard Tice were sitting in Parliament last week wearing little badges. The badges were those of the trade union. Nigel Farage and his posse voted against a Labour motion to increase protections for workers. And then they sat in Parliament pretending to care about the trade unions, because they cared about what they could use those trade unions for on that day. They don't care about workers. They voted against measures that would protect workers. They're the party of the rich for the rich. Look at their manifesto. What are they suggesting they're going to do for working class people? Unless it's something to do with immigration. They don't care. They pretend that they're going to fix the NHS. Yeah, we'll get rid of all this waste. Or if we get into councils, we'll get rid of all this waste. Ignoring the reality that 65% of most English councils' money goes on social care, but they don't have a plan for that. This is a party that doesn't care about ordinary people, but Nigel Farage, for some reason, and I still don't understand it, is able to convince people time after time to vote for him, to vote for his party. They believe that he's a man of the people. They believe that he's one of them. He wouldn't pee on them if they were on fire. He doesn't care about ordinary people. He has demonstrated that on numerous occasions. But for some reason, middle-class people, working-class people, people who work in steelworks are convinced that Nigel Farage is on their side. How does he do it? I honestly don't know. When I look at Nigel Farage, I see a charlatan. I see a crook. I see somebody who's willing to lie in order to achieve his goals. I don't understand how others don't see that. Is it because people are desperate that they're willing to give him a chance? If he was new, I could understand that. But he's been around the block for about 40 years. 30 years anyway, in politics. So, what does he have? What is his mojo? I don't get it. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what do you think? As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.